All right, guys, back to work. Back to work. Another fantastic day comes to an end. How about that spike up into that beautiful trading range? If you watched last night's video, hope you made some money on that beautiful setup this morning. Now, back to work tonight. Get a big move higher, and we're back to all-time highs again. How fast we made it back to all-time highs. Now, big move higher, back to all-time highs. Put those two together, and I've got three specific trades I'm tracking for tomorrow morning. Number three, by the way, my favorite. It's the easiest way to make money. Not to worry, I'm going to cover all three of my favorite trades for tomorrow. By the time we're done tonight, we'll have an easy roadmap to make some money on Thursday. Before we jump in, though, to my favorite trades here for tomorrow, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hopefully by now you know you don't want to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoy these videos, if you like these lessons, hit that like button for me tonight. Give me a shout out down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting our channel. It's been a hell of a week. The markets are ripping right now. Now, where are the best trades setting up for what should be another fantastic day tomorrow on a Thursday morning? NASDAQ triple Qs are all ready. The E-mini and the SPY is ready. I have three important clues on these charts right now that are telling us where the best winning trades are going to be for tomorrow. One of those three clues are right in front of us on the 60-minute time frame. We are bullish on the S&P and SPY, bullish on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. I like to use the 60-minute chart to give us the best overall directional bias. But the 60-minute chart, there's one thing it doesn't do. It doesn't give us support and resistance. It doesn't give us entry timing tactics, right? To time the best entries, I have two more important clues on our tick charts, our faster time frames, and we'll cover that in just a moment. Before we do that, though, let's check our schedule for tomorrow because we got some big news, not as big as the news was today, but we got some big news coming out tomorrow. Got a big block of news coming out tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time. Specifically, the housing starts and permits. We heard from quite a few Fed speakers this afternoon, and everybody is kind of watching the housing market right now because they think that that is the most stubborn aspect of inflation. So that's something I'm watching for tomorrow. In all reality, the Philly Fed manufacturing number is really the big news of the session. So keep your eye on that 8:30 block of news. We, of course, will be together tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time in our trade. But back to our charts, though, because it's good to know when the news is tomorrow morning. It's good to know when it is, but the money is made on the charts. I mentioned earlier, the 60-minute charts are obviously bullish right now. You don't need me to tell you this, but we get some really big clues right now. Big move into all-time highs. How do we time the best entries? Because we know the best direction right now. How do we time the best entries? Tick charts. Tick charts make our job a hell of a lot easier. This is a 7,000 tick chart linked up there in the upper left-hand corner. And if you're watching for the first time right now, welcome to the channel. This is the 21 EMA. It's pretty much the only indicator we use every day to find lots of winning trades each week in our trade room. Now, I mentioned earlier there are two more important clues. One of them, of course, is this big move going higher. Anytime I see a big move up like this, I don't want to buy high. I want to buy nice and low, a nice deep pullback in a retest of the high. So we know everyone wants to buy low right now and buy the dip. The second important clue, which might be the most important clue on this chart, is that trading range. Now, you know me, I love ranges. Ranges are one of the most important clues we get as traders, in my opinion. Anytime we see a range breakout, what do we expect? A breakout pullback and a retest of that high. Now, I mentioned earlier, there are three different types of trades I look for whenever I have a big move up like this into those all-time highs. One of those three trade scenarios, those three setups I'm watching for tomorrow is going to be what I call a two-legged pullback and a retest of that high. So one of my favorite trades, the first one of three trades I'm tracking for tomorrow, is a two-legged pullback. Now, when I say two-legged pullback, think about a measured move like I teach in our free video course, right? It's a bit more than a measured move. Now, the two-legged pullback is great, but I'm not going to blindly buy that bottom, right? I'm not that aggressive by trading. I'm going to wait for a signal, and I like to use what I call a failure pattern. Now, failure patterns are pretty simple. What I'll do is I'm going to wait for a pullback to the moving average, 21 EMA, and wait for the bears to try twice. The reason why I do this is two reasons. One, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how far that pullback will go. It usually goes to a two-legged pullback, but I don't know. It may go a bit lower than that. So I'm not going to pick the bottom. Most importantly, though, is once those bears try twice, now they're trapped. Now I know where their stops are. No, now I know where their pain green is, right? Now I know where sellers get flipped into buyers, because if you're trapped short and you get stopped out, well, you're going to buy your way out, right? So rookie traders, not a great spot to be a seller. Let's trap those rookies in, and then watch closely here as we try to make our way back up to retest the high, because the goal for tomorrow, as we go back to retest the high, I want to buy as low as I can. And to do that, it will always be what we call a bear trap pattern, right? Bear traps are very simple. A lot of examples of these in our free video courses. And of course, a bear trap, a higher high in price and a trap right below that low. Now, there's one very special part about this scenario. We're back to all-time highs. Now, think about this. If we go back to those highs right now, anybody who bought down here is probably taking at least a big chunk of their profit up there, right? So think about this. Buyers down here become sellers up here right now, while the professionals are taking their profit back at that high. If I can rope in some rookies, this is not a great spot, not very high percentage trade to buy up here. If I can get some rookies, right, like I would have bought that when I was a rookie trader almost 20 years ago. If I can get buyers trying once, trying twice, I'd like to use a pattern which I call a crown reversal. I know a lot of you guys love this pattern. I get a lot of emails from you guys every week making money with this pattern. And I'd love to get that crown reversal as buyers who got in low, as they take their profit, buyers become sellers. And as those rookies come in, I want that lower low in price, nice strong red candle signal closing below that 21 EMA. And the targets on these are pretty easy because we know where the market wants to go. It wants to go back out and take out that low. Once we get back to that low, I can do it again. 1, 2, back up and create a big range up overhead. So again, one of the three kind of trade patterns or sequences we're looking for tomorrow in our trade room is to buy that two-legged pullback, which again is a failure pattern, into that bear trap pattern, back up to retest the high, and if we're lucky, we'll get a bunch of rookies coming in there, buying into it, and give us a chance to run them over and basically run those stops and take out that low. Now, that is kind of the core setup, the core first of three setups. Let's talk about one very common variation of this, because if we're lucky, we'll get two bites at this apple. For example, sometimes that two-legged pullback is so strong, we're going to get that 1, 2. We're going to get that pop up, get a winning trade. But for whatever reason, because that move is so strong, because we're so high up on the chart right now, sometimes what happens is I always, on these two-legged pullback entries, I always take some profit at the underbelly of that first leg. It's a first off target, half off target for us in our trade room. Sometimes it holds that area and retests that low. Now think about this. Anybody who sold on that underbelly of that first leg down, where are they taking their profit? Probably back at that low. So once again, sellers who sold up here, they become buyers down here. Now, is this a good place to sell short? Please say no. Please say no. We're an overall bull market. This is a deep, deep pullback now in an overall bull market. I do not want to sell short there, but I know some rookies that probably will. I would have chased that lower when I was a rookie trader. Do it again. 1 try for the bears. 2 try for the bears. Again, why 2 tries? Because we need those stops, right? Squeeze those stops. It's the same thing, right? It's just a variation of that first example. Now back up, grab your bear trap, either add on to it or get back into it. We go back up to retest the high again. This is where the bulk of the profit comes off. And again, now we look at crown reversal, which is 1 try for the buyers, lower low, 2 try for the buyers. Grab that bull trap, and again, back down to retest that low. Do you see how it's the same basic setup, except this one is more of a double bottom? 1 in there, right? We get a winner on the first one. We get stopped on the trailer, re-enter off the double bottom, 2 try, bear trap, and again, that crown reversal off of that high. Now, the least attractive variation of this, one more variation of this kind of core methodology or core setup for tomorrow. The least attractive, but you know, my job right now is to make sure we're ready for anything tomorrow. If we get that big, strong two-legged pullback down, I want to get that 1, 2 back up again, right? Squeeze those stops. But you know what? Sometimes there's so many buyers down there, it just whoop and runs right back up to retest the high. Now, I know you guys love this pattern. I got so many emails on that PPI report earlier this week. So just like that PPI number bounced off that low, it'll pop up, it'll begin to grind. Okay, when this begins to grind like this, this is your giveaway, right? Now watch closely, draw a trend line. Off that high, mark it down at that big low. That gives you now your channel. Now here's where the magic happens, okay? Look left, find some of these prior swings, and my goal is always to get in underneath one of those prior swings. Most important thing though is it's the first touch of that new channel. Remember, it's an overall bull market. The buyers want to go back to retest the high. I want to buy nice and low. If I can't get in nice and low, I need to get in at the next best potential, which of course is off that channel underneath a prior swing. This could be a trap pattern. It could be a failure pattern. It could be a pullback combo. If we have enough space tomorrow morning, a possible strength trade on the way going back up to retest the high. Now, let's slow down for a second because traps, failures, pullback combos, strength trade. I know most of you guys watching right now, you know these patterns. You're making money with these already. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new language for you. But don't you worry. I teach all these entry patterns. I have hundreds of examples of all these setups to talk about right now. I teach all this in so much more detail in our free video classes. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up there and take that free trading course because the strategy you're going to learn in that short video series will teach you a stupidly simple trick we use in our members trade room so we always know where the best winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, I want to help you start making money on your own. I'll teach you 4 of my favorite entry patterns. You'll definitely learn traps and you'll definitely learn failures, two-legged pullbacks, retest the high, crown reversal. It's all covered in more detail in that free video course. Guys, the markets are way too good right now. If you're not making consistent money every day, if you're missing the best trades every morning, if you're struggling to qualify for a funded account at Apex or Top Step, hit that link. Do yourself a favor. Perfect for someone who wants to make the jump into full-time trading. Also be aware too, if you can't get the link up top there, I'm going to put all the important links we talked about tonight in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put my free video course links down there. Definitely start there. We trade together every day in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put trade room membership information down there as well. And also too, I post a lot of updates on Twitter, on X as they call it now. If you're on Twitter or X, give me a follow. I'll put all the information there for you in the description of the video. But make sure you grab that free trading course because I'll tell you, I get so much positive feedback from that every week. People learning the patterns, making money on their own, and I think you could probably succeed with that as well. So that again now is one. I mentioned earlier, 3 different trades setups I'm tracking for tomorrow. That was one of them, and a couple variations of them. Let's now talk about the second one right now in the S&P. I'm going to say the best one for last on the NASDAQ. Now, the second one is, we all want that deep pullback right now. But you know what? These markets have been grinding higher. They're drunk on the idea that rate cuts are coming, or at least not rate hikes are coming anytime soon. So what if we don't get that deep pullback? What if we only get a shallow pullback? Now, this is a very important part of the process. You better pay attention, take some screenshots. Now, if all I get is a shallow pullback right now, and I mentioned earlier, right, shallow pullback zone, deep pullback zone, we had those marked up in the chart before. Now, I want to buy low. I have to buy as low as I can right now. And I like to get a two-legged pullback to do that. But sometimes we don't get that. So if all we get is a shallow pullback right now, the way you get into this trade is always with a bear trap. Bear traps are always going to be the pattern we use whenever we're worried about buying too high. Like in this example, right after a big move right up into those all-time highs. Now make sure you learn this pattern because this pattern it's a money pattern. It definitely is. It's bears once, it's a higher high, got to be a higher high. I need to trap in sellers, and sellers want to sell as the price goes higher, right? So bears try once, bears try twice. Now, we got to get underneath that low. What will happen is the moving average right here, you'll get that nice green candle, right? And that snap back up to retest the high. In situations like this, I like to use a symmetry move, right? So the amount of the pullback gets projected now going higher, and that becomes a target overhead. Makes sense, right? The size of the pullback becomes a target now, flip it overhead, and that becomes a target overhead. Again, this is called a bear trap pattern. It's a shallow pullback trap. Now, pay attention. Very, very important. What most of the time happens is when we get a shallow pullback trap like that, it'll run up, and oftentimes the next one that comes after that is the deeper two-legged pullback. So if we're lucky tomorrow, we might get both of those. We might get that shallow pullback trap. Makes sense, right? Because oftentimes what happens is there's so much excitement, there's so much momentum that we don't get that deep pullback, right? We get that shallow pullback trap, the higher high in price, the trap below that low. But then once they get that pop higher, tighten the stop up, take some profit as it goes higher. Once we kind of get overbought a bit more, oftentimes the wind gets let out of this setup or the market overall, and then we get that big, again, think about a two-legged pullback, a bit more than a measured move. Don't pick that bottom. Trap those bears in that failure pattern, that bear trap pattern, and right back to retest. That's the same pattern situation, sequence we talked about there a few moments ago. So shallow pullback trap, that is the second of two types of scenarios or trades I'm tracking for tomorrow. I'm getting kind of excited just thinking about this right now. My goal is to game plan this. That way we have a game plan. We're mentally prepped for tomorrow. Now, we have one more, right? I've talked about 2 out of the 3 now. Let's wrap this up here tonight and give you guys a bulletproof game plan for tomorrow on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, of course, is almost identical to the S&P. It usually is, right? So big move up, strong bull market right now. You don't need me to tell you that. Now, on the NASDAQ, we have what is ultimately the exact same situation. We have a big move higher. We do not want to buy high. I want to buy nice and low, right? We have a range breakout. We know anytime we have a range breakout like this, we love to buy a breakout pullback. So everything we just talked about on the S&P can be pretty much copied and pasted right now over on the NASDAQ. Now, the easiest way to make money, in my opinion, the easiest way to make money is whenever the market goes sideways in a range. The third scenario for tomorrow, which is not always the most common, but it's my favorite by far. If you guys are in my free video class right now, you know why I love ranges so much. Easy to find winning trades. Ranges. Let's talk about range-bound markets. So first things first is ranges act like magnets, all right? That's why we like to use ranges for breakout pullbacks, all right? The most important thing about ranges is that they act like magnets and they love to rotate. Okay, the rotation aspect of ranges is so important. For example, if we go below the range and then back up into that range, the amount below the range can be projected now back above the range, and that becomes a target. Okay, if we go above the range, the amount back down again is roughly equal above the range. Where we measure it back and forth, we call these pendulum swings. This should hopefully be familiar if you're inside of the free video course. So if we understand that ranges are magnets, we understand that ranges love to rotate back and forth like a pendulum, right? Equal distance back and forth. And we know we're overall bullish. Let's talk about some easy ways to make money off this. The first one is obviously now it's a big move up into a trading range. I would love to get that deep pullback down into that deep pullback zone. I don't worry about buying low down here. I worry about momentum really at this point, right? Being so bearish. Trap those bears in, don't pick that bottom. And again, you have your bear trap combination going higher. Now remember, what's really cool about ranges is the fact that yes, I'll take some profit off top of that range, but now the amount below, the amount above, see, now you know why I love these things so much. Now we know where this sucker wants to go. I know these are not exactly equal, but these are equal, obviously, in real life, right? So run back up, right, and grab that target at the high up there. Leave that runner. Now again, like I mentioned before, if we end up getting that deep pullback, get that one try, two try, I always take about half off at the underbelly of that range. It's kind of the underbelly of that first leg down, right? So the underbelly of that range is, for me at least, is always kind of a half off target, right? Take half off, get rid of risk, right? Lock up some reward, etc., etc. Again, we may get that two try failure, but we may not keep rolling. We may end up getting that retest of that low. And again, guys, I'll tell you right now, these retests are oftentimes the most lucrative because what happens is now buyers are now buying really low, and this time around, rookies are trapped in. right? I would have thought that was a reversal when I was a rookie trader. A lot of new traders fall for that trap as well. Same again, right? Same again. One try, two try. This is that double bottom variation we mentioned earlier on the S&P, right? So same basic idea, but again, the difference here is the range, of course, is the magnet. We measure below, we measure above. That becomes big targets. You could also say that V bottom, right? That V bottom is also in play here as well, right? So all the same stuff as well. Now, here's where things get really good. Let's talk about now the fake out breakout. This is where things get fun. We're gonna go higher now first and then back down. I know a lot of you guys grabbed that today, the amount above, the amount below. That told us exactly where to look for those bear traps this morning in our trade room. So if we go higher and then run back down, see, this is where the magic happens right here. Now think about this. How could I sell above the high right now? What was that short trade we talked about earlier? It was a crown reversal, right? Crown reversal, 1, 2, and that again, it's a lower low in price, and that it's basically a bull trap and a failure pattern. If they got together, right? Bull trap, failure pattern, put them together, that's a crown reversal right there. Lower low in price. Now, in my trading, I take these half size positions, quarter size positions, right? These are not as good as that double top I mentioned earlier, right? Makes sense? So be aware of that. In my trading, my trade room, again, these are half size positions. They're quarter size positions because they're going against that trend overall. However, now we know where the market wants to go. Now we mark off that high, we mark off that low, bingo. That now takes care of our target. And again, now think about this for a second. This is where you got to pay attention here now. Now, if all we get, right, is that 1, 2, it's a failure pattern, right? It's a failure pattern right there. Failure into bear trap combination. But watch closely though. Watch closely. Sometimes what happens is, sometimes these things bounce up so quick, it runs up like this. All right. Remember, you don't want to do it like this, right? You don't want to buy that failure way up here. We don't want to buy high. I get it. It is one try, two try. But when it bounces hard like that, you want to buy what? You want to buy traps, right? You want to buy underneath that low. This takes a bit of practice, and of course tomorrow we'll do it together in our trade room. How do you know when to grab a two try? How do you know when to grab a bear trap? The easy way to think about it is if this thing really V bottoms off that low like that, I don't want to buy high, and to buy low, I always try to get underneath those prior swings for a bear trap there. And again, remember, it may also too, right? It may run lower there, take out that low, and again, these are even easier, right? Then double bottom, failure, trap, run back up as well. So be aware of that fake out breakout off the high. Again, my personal opinion, go a bit smaller size on that crown reversal pattern off of that high. Measure the amount above, project that down below. We saw a great example today. Above, back below, that gives you an idea of where to look for the entry. I'm not making this stuff up. You will see this stuff. This repeats over and over and over again. Once you know how much it goes above, then you know how much it goes below. We're not going to pick the bottom again. We test that bottom. 1, 2, back up again. Trap those bears in. Use those stops to squeeze. And again, if it rolls over double bottoms, do it again. Right? Do it again. All right, guys? That's the game plan for tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow morning, these markets are going to throw some curveballs at us tomorrow, right? These are the setups I'm tracking for tomorrow, but the easiest way to do this, really the easiest way to start making money with this stuff is come out and do it with us. Trade with me every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time in our trade room. I'll put all the important links you need. I'll put the free class links. I would definitely start there with the free course. Learn the basic system. I'll put the membership to our trade information, all that stuff in the description, the Twitter feed, the X feed down there as well. Now, hope you learned a bunch in this video tonight. Hope you use this knowledge to make a killing tomorrow morning, and hopefully I'll see you sometime soon trading with us at the opening bell as a member of the morning trade room. In the meantime, be well, be nice to each other out there. Go make some money on Thursday, and we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow. In the meantime, adios amigos. Bye for now.